Donald Trump threatened Kamala Harris voters in his audience while glitching badly at a rally in Juneau, Wisconsin. Not Juneau, Alaska. This was Juneau, Wisconsin. Now, in the clips I'm about to play for you, you would be completely within your legal rights to wonder, why are we seeing Donald Trump from the side? This is a very strange angle for a rally to be filmed. And the reason is that Donald Trump is now speaking at rallies in a bulletproof glass box so thick that light makes it impossible to see Trump through the glare in a normal head-on shot. So we will see him through a side view. What a world that we now live in. Donald Trump with a warning in case there are any Kamala Harris supporters in the crowd. Don't identify yourselves. It could be very dangerous and you could get hurt.
Is there anybody here that's going to vote for Lion Kamala? Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Actually, I should say don't raise your hand. It would be very dangerous. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. Please don't raise your hand.
Yeah, that's a really strange thing to say when you're trying to argue that it's the left that foments violence, that it's the left that actually got you shot, because they say things like, I don't know that Trump respects the institutions of democracy. Violence! And yet here is Donald Trump saying, the Kamala supporters should not identify themselves because they may be hurt. Trump also glitching during the speech with the word Midwestern. Listen to this one.
With 4 more years of Kamala, every Wisconsin small town and Midwestern, the Midwestern cities are just devastated by this.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the Midwestern. Trump claimed during the speech that the victims of Hurricane Helene need big doses of Starlink. Now, when Trump called them doses, that was red flag number 1, that Trump doesn't know that Starlink is an internet service. Then he admits he doesn't know what it is, but he wants Elon to deliver it.
But they want Starlink. So I said, whatever it is, I call Elon. I say, and you can't get it. It's really popular. It's very hard to get. But they need it, and they need big doses of it, like fast. And I'm calling Elon. I said, Elon, in North Carolina and parts of Georgia, and the governor is doing a very good job, by the way, in Georgia, I have to say. A very good job. But in parts of Georgia, and in real big parts of North Carolina, they need something called Starlink. I don't know what the hell it is, and you don't have to tell me because I don't want to waste a lot of time. But would you be able to get it? And we talked on the phone for a couple of minutes. And during my conversation with him, I got a call from North Carolina thanking me for getting Starlink. I said, how the hell did you do that? You're talking to me. You didn't have time. He said, well, I have a system. I think he's doing...
Exactly. We need big tariffs, but Trump doesn't know how they work. We need treatments for COVID, but Trump thinks flu shots, ivermectin, and or bleach might work for COVID. We need a wall with Mexico, even though it wouldn't really solve the problem of undocumented immigration. And we need Starlink, heavy doses of it, gallons of it, even though there's no factual basis or knowledge for Trump in calling for this thing. More proof that it's whatever someone whispers into his ear before he goes on stage. Now, the interesting thing about the side view during the rally was that it made it a lot easier to see people leaving. People leaving were really easy to identify because of this very interesting side angle. And in this video that we're showing you, you can see people actually heading for the exits that Trump speaks. I like this angle. It's actually a great choice. Another fly got near Trump. This is happening frequently at these rallies. It's just all over Trump. And I don't know what it is about flies being attracted to the guy. I think the Bible says something about it. Take a look at this.
A coal plant a week. I don't like flies. Get out of here, fly. Never been a big fan of flies. You don't mind my bringing that up, do you? Anyway, this is a very aggressive sucker, that is. This one. This one in particular is very aggressive. Like, I'm going to be aggressive for our country. You can probably say that. If this can...
So Trump very bothered by insects of different kinds. In a completely Kafkaesque moment, Republican Senator Ron Johnson got on stage, and I can't believe they keep telling these stories. Does anyone believe these stories? He says that Wisconsinites come up to him, you know where this is going, with tears in their eyes, saying they appreciate Trump so much.
On behalf of the hundreds and literally thousands of Wisconsinites that I've talked to over the last few months that want to convey to you their appreciation, oftentimes with tears in their eyes. They want to thank you for your courage, for your tenacity, for your love of this country, for your willingness. They realize you didn't have to do this, but you're willing to do it because, like them, you love this country fervently. So on behalf of all those Wisconsinites, I want to say thank you. Thank you.
You know, on the flight here to Vegas, I stepped onto the plane. 4 people stood up sobbing and said, "David, YouTube has been treating you so unfairly." They then saluted and bought me a drink and gave me pretzels. It was an incredible sight. I don't know how anyone believes these tears in their eyes stories. And if they were true, which I don't believe they are for a moment, but just hypothesize for a moment that it's true, that people are crying this frequently whenever they talk about their love for Trump, there's nothing wrong with crying. There is a shortage of emotion out in the world. But if Trump supporters are crying this often, it's just another sign that they're in a cult, and it is very, very scary stuff. Continuing the apocalyptic, dystopian vision of the future of this country, if Trump doesn't win, Trump says the country is finished if he loses, by which I think he means he might end up in prison if he loses. Take a look.
It's not good. It's not good. And we can't play games. I'd like to be nice. I want to be nice. I think I'm a nice person, but we can't take games. We can't. If we lose this election, this country's finished. I really believe it. This country is finished.
Yeah. The person most worried about Trump losing seems to be Trump. I think we'll probably be okay if Donald Trump loses. And then finally, Donald Trump reiterates, yes, he wants to be a dictator, but just for a single day.
So I have to be careful with this. I said once about a month ago, you only have to vote this one time, and after that, everything will be good. And the fake news said, see, he wants to be a dictator and take over the country. No, that's not what. I said, we got to fix the country, got to make sure, and then the country will be great, and we're going to have, hopefully, some great person, whether it's JD or somebody else. And when the great Sean Hannity asked me a question, and I jokingly said, he said, okay, let's get this up. You don't want to be a dictator, do you? I said, Sean, I only want to be a dictator for one day, and I'm going to close the borders and drill, baby, drill. And after that, I never want to be a dictator, right? So the fake news took that answer, and they said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. Click. Cut. So he said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. And they go, he wants to be a dictator. They cut the rest of the... These are the worst people. These are the worst. They said he's a threat to democracy. He wants to be a dictator. No, you know the threat to democracy are when you put incompetent people in charge of our country. That's a real threat to democracy.
Now, I don't know how much you know about dictators. I don't know how much Trump knows about dictators. Dictators famously are not known for wanting to be a dictator for just a single day and then gladly giving up the dictatorship. They don't typically do that. And then finally, the now nearly universal sign that a rally has ended, Donald Trump doing the double jerk dance while the Village People's YMCA plays at volume levels dangerous for human hearing.
There's no need to feel down, I said, young man.
So there it is. Let me give you a little glimmer of hope. If we're lucky, if we have the votes behind us, if we can get out the vote, if we have God on our side, Baruch Hashem, we may be only 28 days away from never having to endure such an abortive, atrocious rally as that ever again. The problem for today is not only did Trump do a rally, Donald Trump also did a town hall, and it was arguably even worse.
Fall is here. Temperatures are dropping. It's time to start baking delicious homemade favorites. Our sponsor, Wild Grain, is here to warm up your house with sourdough breads, fresh pastas, artisanal pastries, including a wide array of seasonal offerings. They'll even have a small number of apple cider donuts, one of my favorites growing up in New England, so get them before they sell out. Wild Grain makes it easy by doing the hard work for you. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain's boxes are customizable. Whatever your tastes and dietary restrictions are, they can do it. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box. It just takes the hassle out of baking because all items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less. No mess, no cleanup. My favorite, I have to admit, is the croissants. They come in frozen. You bake from frozen. The quality and freshness is top-notch. I'm a big croissant guy, and these were delicious. Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/Pacman to start your subscription. The link is in the description.